How many people have read the new robot rules? In other words, section 1 of the manual. You got a couple? There? There? Okay. Anybody else back here has read? Okay. So, if you haven't read it, all right, how many people that haven't read it are returning teams? Raise your hand if you're a returning team but have not read the new rules. Okay, you're going to be in for a surprise. Okay. The rules last year were about 15, 16 pages long about you can use this part, you can use this part, you can use this version of a screw, you can't use that version of the screw. And the rules have changed dramatically this year. The intention of the rules, and by the way, I have a disclaimer because I'm going to talk about the things that I know are legal, I'm going to talk about the things that I know are not legal, and then I'm going to identify things that you don't know, and it's your responsibility to figure out whether it's legal for when you do it. Okay? So that's my disclaimer, and there is a way for you to find out the answers. There is a forum. So then the next question I'm asked, who knows who on their team is responsible for reading, posting, and responding to the forum? Raise your hand if you know who on your team does that. Okay. So, okay, put your hands down. Coaches who did not have a person on their team raise their hand, that would probably be your #1 task. You really want to do that because this year in particular, unlike any previous year, there's a lot of questions about what things are going to be legal and not legal. So you're going to have to ask on the forum. You do not want to find out that what you did on your robot is not legal when you're at the competition. That is the worst time to find it out. I can't imagine you wanting to sit there and rebuild the robot, especially when the whole purpose of the competition is to get moving and run your robot on the field. And in fact, that leads to the first change in the rules. Robot inspection, initial robot inspection, is done by, anybody know? Your own team. You get your own robot inspection sheet. You have to go down that sheet and you fill it out before you actually go to the robot inspectors. So that means you could have done your inspection even before you go to the competition, and you know what's to be expected. So that is a fundamental change. First is trying to get to so that you get on the field and run your robots. Why are you at the competition? You don't have the competition to sit there and talk to someone and convince them that this is the right thing on your robot. You're there to put your robot on, whatever's underneath this tarp. Right? That's what you're there for. So first is change the rules in terms of what's legal and what's not legal to make it a lot easier to get through the inspection. So now let's talk about what is fixed and known. Your robot must fit within an 18 by 18 by 18 inch cube. That's a requirement. Your robot must have exactly one Samantha module and exactly one NXT. That's another requirement. Your robot must not have any hazardous parts which will harm somebody else or the field. Now that, remember I said you're going to have to ask questions? I'm going to talk, I've got a whole bunch of materials on here we're going to talk about. It is up to the people who are inspecting the field. It's up to the robot safety inspectors to make that decision. Their decision is final. If they look at it and say it's not safe, it's not safe. So, and we'll talk about some of these rules so you can figure out what you can do. Now, here's the really cool part of what's going on this year. You're not restricted to Tetrix parts. In fact, if you want, you can completely build your robot, subject to the previous rules I talked about, out of, Lexan and aluminum and getting it milled and water jetted and all of those things. I don't recommend anybody go to that level, but it is possible to do that. But you have to understand what's legal about materials. The rules are fairly simple. If it is a raw material that other people have access to, then you can use it. So raw material other people have access to. Here's your test. Can you go to McMaster? How many people know who McMaster is? Raise your hand if you know about McMaster. Okay. All right. McMaster is, and it's listed on, it's actually listed in the rules about robot rules. McMaster is one of many that have just phenomenal resources of equipment. You need tools, you need aluminum, titanium, you know, whatever. You can get it from McMaster, and I don't know how they ship it. I mean, I have no clue how they do it, but I get it in a day or two. I get it faster than just about any place else. So if you go to McMaster, if you go to Lowe's, if you go to Home Depot, you can go and find a bunch of the raw materials. You can use it. Key thing, raw materials. This, aluminum, raw material. In fact, this is, actually, I'm sorry, I apologize, this is steel. It's also a raw material. Steel works. I got this at Lowe's. You can even see the sticker from getting it at Lowe's. Quite legal to use that. Lexan. Lexan's your friend. Also, Lexan is just a brand name for polycarb. Does anybody know what polycarb, what's the purpose of polycarb? Bulletproof glass. It's impact resistant. All right? Legal material. Aluminum. Kydex. All of these. Notice this, flat sheets, bars of material. These are all legal. Okay, questionable. Okay, now this is brass. This is a brass kick plate from a door. You probably could get away with this. If you were just simply, you know, if this was the cheapest way for you to get some brass, that you need some brass, or you found an aluminum kick plate that you're using, you probably could get away with this. You know, if you're not counting on using the holes that are pre-drilled on there. Most judges won't question it. This is where I'd ask on the forum, can I use this brass kick plate? I mean, they'll answer yes or no, whether or not you can do that. Okay? So, questionable. All right. How about this piece of lucite? Can I use it? I can see some. Okay, who says I can use it? Raise your hand if you think I can use it. Okay? All right, raise your hand if you think I can't use it. Okay, you're right. Why? It breaks. Breaks into sharp edges. So a judge is very likely going to say, don't do that. Besides, it's not that much cheaper than Lexan. Go get Lexan. You know, you don't want your robot breaking. You want something that's going to be survivable. So lucite, plastic, even this thicker piece. I mean, this is a really, really thick piece of lucite, but it will break. Don't use it. However, Lexan, great stuff to use. Wow, I cut my finger when I broke that Lexan, that piece of lucite. Okay, here's another example. Spring steel. For people that have come up, you can't see it from there. Two of these are legal and one of them's not. These two have sharpened edges. It's actually razor sharp, sharpened edge. I mean, it will cut you. This one doesn't. So, okay, the raw material's legal, but you know what you did with it, sharp edges. Got to think about what you're building in there. Okay. Anybody know what that is? Wood. Legal or not? Raise your hand if you think it's legal. Let's see how many. Okay, raise your hand if you think it's not. I don't know.